Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the October 17th, 2023 Town Board meeting. If everybody could please rise for the pledge to the flag. Luciana, would you lead us, please?
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If everyone could remain standing for a moment, and please keep in your thoughts and prayers all the people that are victims of the war that's going on right now over in Israel. And also, please protect our first responders, our fire, our ambulance, and all of our police that are waiting out in the hallway at this point in time. On a daily basis, they protect us and our fighting men and women of our armed services. Thank you. Amen. All right, starting on my right, I'd like to do introductions.
Good evening, Diana Quast, Town Clerk.
Deputy Supervisor, Councilman Ed Lachterman.
Supervisor, Tom Diana.
Sergio Esposito, Councilman.
Luciana Howitt, Councilwoman.
Mary Capocia, Councilwoman.
Town Attorney Adam Rodriguez.
Highway Superintendent Dave Paganelli.
When did you sneak in?
I was here before you tonight.
All right, all right. Anyway, good evening, everybody. I hope we're having a good night tonight. I think we're going to have a good night. We got a good-looking bunch of our police out there that are going to be coming forth very shortly. Just a few things that happened in the past week. Attended a senior health fair at Jefferson Village, sponsored by Assemblyman Matt Slater. It was actually a good event, and the seniors got a lot of good information with regard to what they have at their fingertips that they can pull away from. And there was the Taconic Pharmacy was over there giving flu shots, so they killed two birds with one stone. We went to the Westchester MAD event over at FDR on Saturday. It rained, which dampened the spirits a little bit, but there was a lot of people there. A lot of folks are affected by drunk drivers, and that's why we have the men and women we have outside that protect us on a daily basis to keep our streets safe. They found it interesting that I was actually a victim of a drunk driver in 1999, where I was put out of service from my police career for about 7 months when I was hit on the Hutchinson River Parkway. The Yorktown Engine Company had its pancake breakfast on Sunday, followed by a open house where they were showing some of their pumpers. They were showing the equipment. Kids were having a ball climbing on the fire trucks. It was a nice time. And Jefferson Village has its monthly Veterans Club. Anybody from Jefferson Village that's a veteran that doesn't know about it, get in touch with Brian Sillick. He's the president of that club, and he'll be able to get you signed up. I don't know if there's any sign up necessary. Just show up, I guess. We also attended a peaceful candlelight vigil at the Presbyterian Church for this horrific stuff that's going on now, and it was a moving ceremony. And our Yorktown Police Department is having a car seat check on Saturday at 10 a.m. at the Yorktown Police Department parking lot. This one I'm going to give to Luciana in a minute. And Ed's going to tell us, Luciana's going to tell us a little bit about the Lions Halloween Parade and what the Parks and Recs is doing in addition to. And Ed's going to give us a little information on the Sons of the American Legion's Pancake Breakfast Sunday. And as everybody has probably seen, the courthouse and PD Plaza steps are getting repaired, replaced, fixed up. We're going to make that place look really, really nice. They're moving right along. It was a long time coming, but we got it done, folks. We also have replaced about 800 feet of water main along Broad Street. Some of you may have seen. Now, That's going to be paved pretty soon. That particular project would have cost the town approximately $750,000. All right, we did it in-house for under $100,000. So we saved quite a bit of money doing it. Sorry for any inconvenience it may have caused. I know the water department is out there regularly fixing the little, or big as it may be, sinks that may occur from the excavation. But we got rid of almost 800 feet of transite pipe. And for those of you that don't know, transite pipe is asbestos. All right, that is out of our system. We're not mandated yet by the county health department, but we are asked to take it out where we can. And we are, and we're going to keep taking it out. We have a hydrant flushing is still occurring. Look out for your Nixle alerts if you have Nixle, and the town website for when they're doing flushing in the area. I suggest, ladies and gentlemen, don't do the white clothes for about an hour after they've flushed your hydrants, okay? Because they're probably not going to be white. So run your water in your bathtubs. Let it run for 10 or 15 minutes until you see it turn clear, and you should be fine. But they're flushing the hydrants, which may stir up some stuff in the pipes. And I think I have a list of them here. I'm not going to read all through them. Well, here we got 1017. Fire hydrant flushing, Heights area, Allen Avenue, Keir Street, Underhill Avenue, Overhill Street, French Hill Road, Darby Street, Rochambeau Drive, Cardinal Court, Commerce Street, Maple Court, Maple Hill Street, Brookdale Street, Highbrook Street, Friends Road, Allian Road, Upland Road, Burgess Road, Longview Street, Edgewater Road, Veterans Road, Greenwood Street, Brookside Avenue, Andre Place, and Downing Drive. And they put right on here, your water may be discolored during hydrant flushing. I just add in, don't do your whites. Okay. I'm going to start on my right once again. Ed, you want to give us a little something?
Sure. So the fire department event was great. There was some great ice cream there, I will throw in. But a lot of fun. Everyone really had a great time. The Mad Walk, you're right, Tommy. It was a little wet, but when you hear the stories of some of the families and how they were affected, it was God crying on it. It's tragic, and please, please, please think before you get behind the wheel of a car if you've been drinking. For the Lions Halloween Parade, I'll leave the stuff that's being done by Parks and Recs with Luciana, but it runs 2 to 4 p.m. It is scheduled for this Saturday, with a rain date now was decided of next Saturday, the 28th. It will be put up on the Lions website, social media, and the town website if it is postponed. All right. And due to the firehouse having their pancake breakfast this past Friday, I did not realize that the Sons of the American Legion had decided to go with the 4th Sunday instead of the 3rd Sunday for their pancake breakfast, which is more than pancakes. So this Sunday from 9 to 11 at the American Legion, post 1009, you will have the opportunity to come for the Sunday morning breakfast. The donations for the breakfast all go to the veteran services that the Sons and the American Legion help out with. So it's a great way to come over, to have a great breakfast, and also to help support our veteran services in town. And that's it. We have a lot going on, so I'll cut it at that.
All right, sir. Ed, thank you.
Let's skip Sergio.
We're going to skip Sergio. I'm going to make you wait.
Oh, okay.
We're having the town is having its own vigil, candlelight vigil in solidarity with the people of Israel. It's going to be on Thursday. Tom, can you zoom in on this? October 19th at 6:30 p.m. at the Jack DeVito Gazebo. Okay, once again, that's Thursday, October 19th at 6:30 p.m. at the Jack Gazebo, the Jack DeVito Gazebo at 1794 Commerce Street. Commerce Street. No, it'd be Veterans Road.
No, it's behind the Commerce Street building, so it's still considered Commerce Street.
Okay. Anyway, so like I say, 6:30. Love to have everybody show up. and we'll have a nice little vigil for all of those folks that are affected. All right, Lou, we're gonna go to you. She's itching to go, Sergio. Do you mind?
No, I don't mind at all.
All right.
And I was going to have him shout out your beautiful visual that's going to happen at the gazebo. See? I was going to back him up. Okay, so let's talk about Get Down DJs that are going to be at our Lions Parade. Like Ed said, the rain date is October 28th, but let's pray that the rain holds off a little. I had my son's birthday party in downpour, and I got 120 people. I think this town can come out and dance in the rain. Don't you think?
I think so.
And some fun costumes. But that's okay. It's going to start right in front of the Rexall about like 1:15. Obviously, this is with Parks and Rec and the Lions Club. And we'll go ahead and utilize all of our Facebooks, town notifications, maybe even the Nixle, and letting you know if it is going to be postponed. Tomorrow, there is the window painting. If your children haven't signed up yet, there are some spots available. It's all over the Triangle Shopping Center. They come in, they put some Scotch tape, and go ahead and make their own spooky scene for the storefronts. You can go ahead and call Parks and Rec at 914-245-4756, extension 0, and say, I'd like some window space. And let's not forget the Great Goblin Contest, which will be chosen no later than next Tuesday. So for you little faces out there, what do you think the goblin looks like? Can you draw him out on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, have mom or dad either take a picture of it and send it over to Parks and Rec or drop it off at the trailer, and whatever your minds believes the goblin looks like, we can go ahead and vote on it. And then to boot, if you get lucky, we can go ahead and have mom and dad sign you up for a goblin call, and the goblin can actually call you at a scheduled time and wish you the happiest haunted Halloween possible that Yorktown can offer. That's all I got for you guys
You
today.
need to call all the kids.
I know.
Oh,
I would call all the kids. I'll bring it to the book fair tomorrow. Oh, and for all those moms that their kids are going to the book fair tomorrow, if you don't want to wait online in the actual book fair night, which can be chaotic, please go on your e-wallets, put some money on it, and let the teachers help your kids pick out the books. Talk to you soon.
All right, Sergio.
That's what I did.
Wanna go, Mary? Chris?
Okay. I just have a quick public service announcement. Next week is our last town board meeting before the election. We will have early voting beginning on Saturday, October 28th through Sunday, November 5th. Throughout the county, there are 24 polling locations. You can actually vote at any one of those locations. As for Yorktown, we just have our two, which is Jefferson Village and the Albert Cappellini Community Cultural Center. If you want the days and times, Saturdays and Sundays, 10 to 6. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 to 4. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 12 to 8. So again, early voting starts Saturday, October 28th, right through Sunday, November 5th.
And Mary, regular voting will be at your usual polling place,
But
correct?
regular voting is your regular polling place. Early voting is the only one. If you happen to be in White Plains and you need to vote, you can vote in White Plains at their polling location.
Actually, there's some changes to some of the polling locations and sites. So just
for
to go
November.
over it, general election day is November 7th. Polls are open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. There are some changes to polling locations and districts. The first one is ED 19 has been eliminated due to redistricting. ED 5 has been moved from Thomas Jefferson School, which is no longer a polling site, to Grace Lutheran Church. ED 15 has been moved from French Hill School, which is no longer a polling site, to the Albert A. Cappellini Community Cultural Center gym. And ED 30 has been moved from French Hill School, which is no longer a polling site, to Walter Panis High School. So if you have any questions where you should vote, call my office, 914-962-8152. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right.
All right, I guess I'm up,
Sergio,
huh?
You're up.
The 12th annual Tackle for the Cure happened last Friday at Lakeland High School. What an event. What is it? The students there played Nyack. So the Lakeland Hornets, Lakeland, right? The Lakeland Hornets played Nyack, and we kind of crushed them.
Go Hornets.
But anyway, everybody was wearing pink, and the reason for that was they were looking for a cure for cancer, and all the money that they accumulated that night got donated to Support Connection. I got to tell you, the kids around here, forever impressed. I've never seen so many young. I mean, I wish I could say I was doing these productive things when I was, that age. All right, and it was different where I grew up, but these kids are unbelievable. I mean, I don't even know where they get the energy from. But it was such a great event. Everybody wearing pink. There were millions of people there, and the whole thing was just great event for a great cause. Going back to high school, the Yorktown Huskers top Brewster, the varsity Huskers top Brewster this weekend. We are now, the Huskers are, I think, 6-0, and the next game is going to be at Somers, which is this weekend. It's going to be insane. It's a real big rivalry. And I got to be honest, there's nothing like youth sports, and to just be around the energy is really impressive. There was a relaunch of Flow Vineyard Church. That's the church that's next to Peter Pratt's. The Yorktown Chamber Festival was, I think, a smashing success.
Yes.
I mean, it was just unbelievable. I got to tell you, the Mothers Against Drunk Driving, the walk, it was rainy. It was, it was just a horrible, day weather-wise for a lot of the walks that happened in Yorktown. But, there was a lot of energy there, and a lot of people ended up showing up. So these are the types of things that, really make Yorktown great. We have so many events. You just can't keep up with them all, and you can't get to them all. So I recommend you get to as many as you can, right? I want to tell you that I was just at Salem, Massachusetts. I love going up there. I go up there every year for the witch trials, and they make history come alive, and I'm a really big history buff, so I love that kind of stuff. But I went to a couple of haunted houses up there. They pale in comparison to the haunted house that's right here in Yorktown. And you guys got to go see it. There's like 2 weekends left, and it's insane. It's like the haunted house is about 20 minutes long. They have characters and actors, and I got a tour in the back, and it looked like a salon for witches and ghouls and goblins with hairspray and all of this stuff going on. Great event for the kids. They kind of cater to what you want. If you want it really scary, they make it really scary. If you don't want it scary enough, they make it scary enough. So it's a great event for the family. And you know what? It's bringing in a lot of people to the local restaurants. And that's the word that I've been hearing from a lot of people. Last thing.
I'm scared.
It's great. I love this kind of stuff. But anyway, last thing. I just want to, with everything that's going on with Israel and Palestine, and it's just heartbreaking. And this week was a little rough for me. And then I looked at what was happening there, and I was like, this week's really not that rough. I mean, really, it really gave me a point of reflection, and I'm like, there's really nothing going on that's so horrible, that could compare to what's going on over there. And so I know everybody's got this heightened, sense of fear and negative energy, and I can feel it in the street. So I want to give a shout out to our first responders, especially our police department. Now that they're here, it's even more appropriate for really stepping it up. I know that there's a lot of more calls and all of this stuff going on, and you guys do a fantastic job, and I greatly appreciate your protection. Thank you.
All right. Dave, do you have anything for us?
I'll be brief. Business as usual at Highway. Trees, as you see on the agenda later. Drainage, paving, potholes, catch basins, using our new Vactor, which we got trained on last Thursday. So we're out cleaning catch basins. Sweeping and mowing. Thank you, Yorktown.
That's 7 to 9. And last but certainly not least, does it be a Saturday? Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 6 to 8.
Read right from that.
There we go. At our John C. Hart Memorial Library, we are having our annual haunted house. I understand it was a scaringly great time last year. It'll be Friday, October 27th from 7 to 9. Saturday, October 28th from 6 to 8. And Sunday, October 29th from 4 to 6. You may see a beheaded supervisor there. I'm not sure. The head may be on the table. I'm not 100% positive yet, but there is rumor that that may happen. So,
Just so everyone knows too, if you have younger kids, there'll be activities on the porch. There'll be cider, there'll be donuts, a lot of fun, cookies. So there's something for everyone. So if the little ones are scared, or in my case, the older ones, as,
Yeah,
as
I'm the
my
scaredy
wife
cat
won't
going.
go.
Me
My
too.
wife won't go in.
I'll go with Carol.
So
I'll hang out with Pete
you,
the cat.
you could hang out on the porch and have some snacks and play some games.
and we planted the new Christmas tree for the annual Shrub Oak Christmas tree lighting last Friday. It's up. We're going to have the Parks Department is going to do its usual wonderful job in installing the lights, and it'll be the weekend, the Saturday, and rain date for Sunday, after the electric light parade here in town. So that'll be the tree lighting for Shrub Oak. What is the date on the electric light parade in
Oh,
town?
you're killing me here.
December.
It's early. I think I want to say December 2nd. Let me
I was like second or third or something like that.
let me open my calendar.
The first Saturday of December, which is the second.
Second, okay.
Second.
So the annual electric light parade, weather permitting, will be December 2nd, with a rain date of December 3rd, and the one in Shrub Oak will be December 9th, with a rain date of December 10th. Okay, that's all I have. Anybody else? Adam, anything for us? Maybe a little update on the ATV?
Yeah, I can do that. Sure.
This is a topic that's very important to us, not only to us, but to our police force also, so that they can enforce the laws that they need to enforce on these ATVs that are out there and are causing some problems.
So after, meetings with the various stakeholders, as I mentioned, I think at not the last meeting, but the last time I discussed this at a meeting, I've put together the sort of construct of an amendment to the law that's going to have several changes to it, and I think I'm in a position where I'll be able to circulate that draft to the stakeholders by Friday. So depending on comments, we may have the law on Tuesday to be considered and referred out, just again, depending on how much feedback I get.
Thank you, Adam.
Thanks, Adam.
All right, great, Adam, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, now we're going to have a presentation by our police chief and our police department.
Good evening, everyone. For those of you who do not know me, I am Chief Robert Noble, proud to be the Chief of Police, Town of Yorktown. There was a little mix-up with the entry. We're proud to portray our colors, and this is our Yorktown Police Department Color Guard, Honor Guard. They do a fantastic job. If I could ask of you one more time to please rise as we say the Pledge of Allegiance one more time, which is what I had hoped would happen in the beginning of the evening.
Detail, battalion, hut, present arms. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order, arms. Color guard, dismissed.
Detail, right, face. Forward, march.
Thank you. Please be seated. Very proud of our Honor Color Guard. We reinstituted our group almost 2 years ago, and it's just they do a fantastic job representing us at so many different events, and they're proud of what they do, and they should be. The time and effort that they put into it, I'm very proud of them, and I'm glad they could be here this evening. One other thing I'd like to do, and I'd like to ask a certain select group of people to stand, is whenever we do a ceremony, we ask that our veterans of service, our military service, if you're able to, please rise and be recognized and thanked for your service to our country. Now more than ever, we're reminded how much we need our military and how much we rely on them, and we wouldn't be free without you. So we certainly don't forget that at the Yorktown Police Department. I know this town board doesn't either. So thank you so much, so very much for your service. And this evening, it's always a nice night where I can get up here and celebrate the excellent work that the men and women of the Yorktown Police Department do on a day in and day out basis. We do a lot of things very well. You really don't hear of very many incidents poorly handled by this agency, and that's because of the men and women that you see here tonight and that are out there working the road this evening. They take great pride in what they do. They're trained very well by their instructors, and most importantly, they're high character people. They wouldn't be in our police department if they weren't of the finest character, and I'm proud every day to work with them. So tonight, I'd like to introduce you to our newest police officer, and I'd also like to share some of the excellent work that our police officers have done throughout the course of an 8-month period, starting last fall through June 1st of this year. So, without any further ado, I'd ask that Police Officer Madison Cora please join me on the stage. Yorktown Police Officer Madison Cora attended Yorktown High School, where he was a member of the basketball team for 4 years. He later graduated in 2018. Following high school, he attended Sacred Heart University, and that was in the fall of 2018, where he pursued a degree in criminal justice and graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Science in May of 2022. He received the President's Excellence Award all 4 years. This award recognizes a student who displays strong academic achievement in high school and signifies significant contribution to the academic and intellectual life of the Sacred Heart University community. Madison also made the Dean's List every semester and finished his college career with a 3.9 GPA. During his time at Sacred Heart, Madison was a part of the student government, where he was the vice president of his class. He tended to student needs and aspirations on campus through community events and fundraisers to ensure his fellow classmates would have the best college experience. Through student government, he also participated in volunteer work, specifically the Turkey Drive, which helped collect turkeys and canned goods to give to those in need so that they can enjoy a plentiful Thanksgiving dinner. His last year at Sacred Heart, he was an intern with the Drug Enforcement Administration, where he assisted agents and detectives on many cases. Following that experience, Madison became a peace officer for Westchester County in May of 2022, where he worked to provide a safe and enjoyable atmosphere in the county parks. He would leave subsequently to pursue his career in law enforcement and joined the New York City Police Department, the NYPD, on July 13th of 2022. Madison spent a little over a year protecting and serving the city of New York, specifically the Bronx in the 5-0 precinct. On July 26th, 2023, Madison had the pleasure of joining his very own community that he grew up in at the Yorktown Police Department. Since joining the police department, Officer Cora has completed field training, did it right on time, sailed right through it, and is now on routine patrol where he's looking forward to protecting and serving his own community and continuing his family legacy. As I can comment on that, he falls under the command of Lieutenant Foley in the patrol division, and he had a very, very good field training officer program. His field training officer spoke very highly of him, and he has assisted on multiple arrests in the community, both during his field training officer time and the short time that he's been on the road on his own. I keep saying, we hire people, and we keep getting better at our police department. And I have a firm belief that this young man, he's going to serve this community with pride and distinction throughout his career, and following the footsteps of his mom, Avian, and dad, Eric, who are both police officers in the city of New York. So would you join me and please give Officer Cora a nice round of applause. At this time, Officer Cora is going to take the oath from our town clerk, Diana Quast, and I would ask that Eric and Avion come up and join him while he takes his oath. At that time, he will be pinned by his parents.
Now you stay up there. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Madison E. Cora. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of New York. And that I will faithfully discharge the duties of police officer in the town of Yorktown. According to the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations to you.
And Madison, if you'd make room for your parents, they are going to come up and pin you with your badge there.
Chance to get even, Dad.
There you go. Welcome on board. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
And at this time, Officer Cora is going to say a few words to the community. Come on over.
Thank you, Chief. Good evening. I just want to thank Chief Noble, Lieutenant Kolkman, Lieutenant Graham, and Lieutenant Foley, and the rest of the Yorktown Police Department for giving me this opportunity and welcoming me to the department with open arms. I also want to thank the town board for all that you do, and I want to thank my family for giving me this opportunity and being super supportive throughout this entire process. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to work for this department, and this department wouldn't be what it is without Chief Noble and all the hard work he's put in and the hardworking people behind him. Thank you very much.
All right, at this time, we're going to start our award portion of the presentation. So when I call your name, please come up and join me on the stage facing the crowd. Sergeant Craig Scatola, if you're here. Officer Domenico Donati. Officer Max Ellsworth. Officer Devin Gregorio. Detective Ryan Noon. Officer Jack Doherty. Officer Carl Nucilli. Officer Christina Delatorre. And Police Dispatcher Beth Sherwood. On the evening of April 14, 2023, at or about 7:30 p.m., Yorktown Police Department received a report of a suicidal subject who was driving on the Taconic State Parkway in the area of Route 6. The male made suicidal statements and told the New York State Police dispatchers that he was armed with a firearm and that if he was stopped by police, there'd be a gunfight. Officers Doherty and Delatorre located the vehicle and attempted to stop it. The vehicle failed to comply, leading officers through several residential neighborhoods on a pursuit. Officers Donati and Ellsworth joined in the pursuit, giving accurate locations over the radio for other jurisdictions. The vehicle was stopped at Route 6 in the area of Mill Street. Officers Doherty, Delatorre, Ellsworth, Donati, Nucilli, and Sergeant Scatola attempted to conduct a felony car stop. Officers also safeguarded the public by preventing traffic in either direction of said car stop. Officers attempted to de-escalate and negotiate with the subject. The actions of these officers secured the subject and his vehicle. They secured the subject and his vehicle while safeguarding the public. The officers were able to secure the scene while stop stick mitigation was placed further on Route 6 should the male subject drive away. The officers continued to de-escalate and negotiate with the male until officers from the New York State Police, the Carmel Police Department, the Putnam County Sheriff's Office, the Westchester County Police Department, and the Westchester County Police Department Special Response Team were on the scene. During the incident, Detective Noon, Desk Officer Gregorio, and Dispatcher Beth Sherwood displayed excellent performance in their ability to multitask information that was being provided to them over the radio to the Real-Time Crime Center. This was going out countywide to officers responding from multiple jurisdictions. The professional actions of Detective Noon, Desk Officer Gregorio, and Dispatcher Sherwood greatly assisted the Yorktown Police Department officers at the scene with up-to-date information regarding further threats and the subject to utilize this firearm against officers, as well as locations of officers on scene to avoid a possible crossfire situation. The subject was eventually taken into custody, and the firearm was recovered after a negotiation with the subject for close to 8 hours. The actions of each award recipient are to be commended, and they're to be commended for their teamwork, their collective efforts, which resulted in a positive outcome for a suicidal male armed with a firearm threatening to shoot police. We say it all the time. Everybody went home safe that night. You had a male in distress who was going through some type of crisis, threatening himself and other people. Hopefully he got the help that he needed. But these officers, every day they put their lives on the line. They go out there not knowing what calls they're going to face. And my officers here did a tremendous job that evening, and Dispatcher Sherwood, I consider you one of my officers, so don't think I'm leaving you out of it. They did a heck of a job. And I'll never forget the call, because that evening I was actually being sworn in and honored as president of the Westchester County Chiefs of Police Association. I think I was there for about an hour when all of this was going down. And I had full faith and confidence that my officers, with the training that they had and just their common sense and intelligence, would see their way through this situation, and they certainly did. And I couldn't be prouder of them. So at this time, I will read the certificate, and it is a Excellent Police Duty Award. Collectively, your outstanding and excellent performance of duty in assisting a subject that was experiencing a mental health crisis, and the ability to locate the subject, develop a tactical plan, and communicate effectively and compassionately with the subject led to a peaceful surrender after an 8-hour ordeal. Please join me in recognizing the efforts of these officers. They did an outstanding job. When I call you, please come forward and accept your certificate. Detective Ryan Noon. Police Officer Max Ellsworth. Police Officer Jack Doherty. I believe Devin is, Officer Gregorio, unfortunately, is on the desk right now and couldn't be here. Officer Domenico Donati. Police Officer Carl Nuccelli. Congratulations, well done. Officer Christina Delatorre. And last but certainly not least, where's Grayson? All right, Grayson, it's mom's time. Dispatcher Beth Sherwood. Congratulations. One more time, please. That's it. I'll take that. Give you those to go on the bottom. And at this time, I'd like to ask Sergeant Michael Woodard, Officer Colin Houlihan, and Officer Mike Vuso, please come up and join me. On February 21st, 2023, at or about 7 a.m., the officers you see before you were dispatched on an aided call. It was a 72-year-old male who was down and not breathing, unresponsive, not alert, not breathing. Officer Houlihan was first on the scene and located, again, the male, not breathing and unresponsive, no pulse. Officer Houlihan instructed a family member to begin chest compressions as he applied the automated external defibrillator, or AED. No shock was advised as Sergeant Woodard and Officer Vuoso arrived on the scene. The three officers continued to perform CPR while waiting for the medics and the ambulance to arrive, and shortly after the arrival of the paramedic, the male regained a pulse and began to breathe on his own. The male was transported by the Yorktown Volunteer Ambulance Corps Advanced Life Support to an area hospital. Days later, it became known that the male was ultimately moved from the emergency room to the intensive care unit and then transferred to another facility. The above officers are hereby commended for their outstanding performance and quick response, which allowed the subject to have a higher chance of surviving this cardiac arrest. We celebrate the work of first responders, all of them, and the medics, everybody out there. They really are of tremendous assistance. But, you know, this happened at 7 a.m. in the morning, and these officers before you were working a midnight to 8 shift. They're in the last hour of their tour. I'm not quite sure what happened before or during, but when that call came in, you better believe the adrenaline was flying. And the officers that you see before you tended to a person who was at great risk of passing away. And I'm proud to say, and that's something that they'll take with them the rest of their lives, that they saved this man's life. And there's no more powerful thing that you can do for another human being than do that for that man in his time of need. So I'd ask that you please give these officers a round of applause, and they are receiving a life-saving award for their actions on February 21st, 2023. Sergeant Michael Woodard. Officer Colin Houlihan. And Officer Mike Vuoso. At this time, I'd ask the following officers to join me on stage. Detective Sergeant Mark Rapisarda, Detective James Hannigan, and Officer John Batista. Rap, you're going it alone tonight. This one I have to ad-lib because there is some confidential information. And I have a write-up of it, but I will tell you what happened, and I can't get too deep into it. But in February of this year, in 2023, Officer Batista made a very proactive arrest. And the arrest consisted of a larceny, criminal possession of a controlled substance, aggravated unlicensed operation, and false personation. Through that arrest, Officer Batista was able to kind of flip the defendant a little bit, who was accused, to share what he or she may know about what was going on in the community. And what was shared with our officers was that there was a house right near our borders that was a pretty significant drug stash house, and that was operating as a place of sale for narcotics. Detective Sergeant Rapisarda, Detective Hannigan, and Officer Batista developed a well-thought-out plan to surveil and also conduct buys into the house. Through repeated buys into the residence and a partnership with the Westchester County Department of Public Safety narcotics team, we were able to secure a search warrant for the residence. And that search warrant, when we performed the search warrant, cocaine was located in the residence, as well as a significant amount of stolen property. This was a house in a residential neighborhood that I can only imagine what the people of that neighborhood had to deal with. But if not for the intelligent, proactive, and just well-coordinated plan by Detective Sergeant Rapisarda, Detective Hannigan, and Officer Batista, the threshold is high to secure a search warrant for work like this. The work had to be impeccable. It had to be smart. And you're looking at the guy who coordinated, organized a lot of it, and actually gave, Detective Hannigan and Officer Batista a solid plan to work with. And our ultimate goal, to take drugs off the street, we were able to do that day. and a firearm was also recovered as well. I didn't want to leave that out. So if I can get a nice round of applause for Detective Sergeant Rapisarda. Your outstanding and excellent performance of duty in February of 2023, which was instrumental in multiple arrests. The use of information and the ability to obtain and execute a search warrant led to the recovery of a replica firearm, a large quantity of stolen property, and a large quantity of narcotics. Congratulations, Detective Sergeant Rapisarda. All right. Our last award of the evening for our officers, before we get to a couple of civilians that are here, I'd ask Detective Sergeant Rapisarda to join me again. Detective Richard Finn. Detective Tommy Nadorsky. Detective Ryan Noon.
It's your night, Rap.
I believe Officer Lazar Zaburu is getting some rest tonight, as he's got to be in at midnight. And Police Officer Michael Yule.
Looking sharp.
Sharp as a marble.
On March 17, 2023, at or about 3:30 a.m., Yorktown Police Department received a call regarding an armed burglary home invasion in Mohegan Lake. Patrols were dispatched and confirmed the incident. That was Officer Yule and Officer Lazar Zaburu. Lieutenant Foley, Detective Sergeant Rapisarda, Lieutenant Graham, and Detective Noon were called to the scene. Investigation showed that two people, a male and a female, entered the home and held a female resident at gunpoint inside her bathroom for almost an hour. Detective Nadorsky was then called to assist the investigation. A neighbor knocking on the door regarding the noise had scared the intruders, and they left soon after, but not before terrorizing this woman, our victim, and stealing property. Investigation and sound actions identified two potential suspects and a suspect vehicle. This information was shared with the Westchester County Real-Time Crime Center, and the suspects and vehicle were discovered to be in the Bronx. The Real-Time Crime Center confirmed, and with the assistance of the NYPD, the Westchester County Police, and the FBI, both suspects were arrested and a suspect vehicle seized within hours of the initial call for service. A few weeks after the incident, detectives received information that the defendants may have hidden the firearm that was alleged to have been used during this terrible call in a storage unit located in the Bronx. Detective Sergeant Rapisarda and Detective Noon led this portion of the investigation. Eventually, they collected enough evidence and information to apply for and receive a search warrant of the storage unit. On or about April 12th of 2023, Detective Sergeant Rapisarda and Detective Noon were joined by Detective Finn, and they went to New York City, to the Bronx, and executed the search warrant at this storage unit, where they recovered a non-serialized and operable handgun with ammunition. The charges against both defendants were upgraded to burglary first, robbery first, and criminal use of a firearm in first degree, all Class B felonies. The perseverance and good investigative work took an illegal gun off the streets and led to appropriate felony charges against defendants for the crimes that they committed. And yes, we needed to find that gun. We needed teeth to the crime that was committed. That gave us the rest of the proof that we needed to demonstrate that this did in fact happen that evening, where that woman was terrorized in her home at gunpoint. And if it were not, again, for perseverance, intelligence, and just attention to duty, the officer standing before you from start to finish did an excellent job that night. Thankfully, we don't have a tremendous amount of violent crime, and thankfully no one was seriously hurt in the residence. But the trauma that victim had to go through that evening, the mental trauma, I'm sure will stay with her for the rest of her life. And I'm proud that these officers represented this community in just an exemplary way to take the gun off the streets and to hold the two people who did this accountable. So would you please join me in giving a round of applause to the police officers that you see before you? and I'll read the award. For your outstanding and excellent performance of duty in March of 2023 while investigating a reported armed robbery home invasion. The ability to conduct a swift and thorough investigation led to the execution of a search warrant for a storage unit in the Bronx. The recovery of evidence led to Class B felony charges levied against the subjects of this crime. Detective Sergeant Mark Rapisarda. Detective Rich Finn. Detective Tommy Nadorsky. Hey, Tommy, I think you got two. No.
Can I have two?
Detective Ryan Noon. And last but not least, the guy who started it off that night, Officer Michael Yule. Again, it is always just a great night where I can come up here and just touch upon some of the fine work that your police officers do in your community. They put their lives on the line every day, and I couldn't be prouder and enjoy working more with them. So now we shift gears, and there's a couple of civilians that are going to receive certificates of appreciation this evening. Is DJ Frank in the house from Get Down Entertainment? DJ Frank, come on up. Now, a few years back, we decided to try to, do that national night out. That's done throughout the country, and there's a lot of moving parts. I mean, there really is, but it's something that really allows the community to come out and meet a lot of the police officers. And I'm proud to say we had close to 40 of our police officers at that event at different points in time. And it's just a really nice night. And, every year we try to recognize a few of the people who make it a nice night and who we couldn't do this evening without. They make it an even better night. And if you're going to throw a party, you better have good music. Right, Frank? That's it. So you need somebody on the 1 and 2 to make it happen. And now I know it's all computerized, but, I'm dating myself a little bit. But, Frank, you did a tremendous job, and that, you're a local business owner, right? The Huntington Learning Center you have up here. You really stepped up and donated your time and skills, to your community that night, and you helped us just throw such an enjoyable event for the Yorktown community. And I'm here to thank you very much for that. And we have a certificate of appreciation, which is awarded to DJ Frank of Get Down Entertainment. The Yorktown Police Department thanks DJ Frank of Get Down Entertainment for volunteering his personal time and skill to support the Yorktown Police Department on National Night Out 2023. So remember that, ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking for somebody to spin some tunes, this guy's out there donating to his community. Thank you very much, Frank.
I did it to thank them, so thank you guys again.
And last but certainly not least, and I have members of the Yorktown Grange. Please join me on stage. Anybody here from the Yorktown Grange?
Oh, nice.
That's nice. No place you'd rather be.
Gentlemen, I believe we have, to my right, Rob, Ethan, and Mark, correct? How about that? Yeah. Thankfully, I try to attend a lot of events, and one of the events that I usually try to stop by is the Halloween parade, which is going to be happening pretty soon. And, I saw the hayride, the tractor hayride that was taking those little kids around the track there at the Jack DeVito Memorial Field. I said, man, that's just a great idea, you know. So I don't know if Jimmy Martirano Jr. came up with it. I don't know who quite came up with it, but when I saw that, I said that I think I need this for our National Night Out. And when I called the Yorktown Grange, they couldn't have been more accommodating. They've been with us each year that we've done National Night Out, and the line to jump on that hayride does not stop. It never ends. So we've got one of our operators, the guy in the middle with the great hair, Ethan. He's one of the operators, and I know his buddy Brian, who's not here, is the other tractor operator. But the rest of the people from the Grange come out and they support that night. They have a tent up there usually, and they're there to support our event as well. So it is truly a team effort. And for those of you who have been around this town for quite a while, you know that the Grange has been here for quite some time. I believe it's the oldest Grange fair, right? In whereabouts in the United States, or? Right, they have their 100th Grange fair coming up in the very near future. They really do, yeah. They and listen, you know, Rob looks good too. He's been alive for all 100 of them. So you know, we want to keep you around for that 100th one. But anyway, you know, we certainly, it's not lost on us what they do that evening. So we have a certificate of appreciation from the Yorktown Police Department, and we're rewarding it to the Yorktown Grange. The Yorktown Police Department thanks the members of the Yorktown Grange for volunteering their personal time and equipment to support the Yorktown Police Department National Night Out 2023, and I hope we'll see you again in 2024. How about a nice round of applause?
Thank you very much. It's our pleasure to join in any event we can here and support any event, any group in Yorktown. It's something we just believe in wholeheartedly. So, especially members of law enforcement. I'm retired law enforcement myself, so it's very near and dear to my heart. So thank you.
All right, that is the structured portion of our presentation, and we're going to end it up because I know you all have places to be. But you know, I have a lot of family of my my officers that you see before you here at Town Hall this evening, and you know, a friend of mine said it best this weekend. He said that you know, as the world goes on, I just seem to understand less and less as to what's happening in the world. And we all saw the terrorist attacks, you know, against Israel, and you know, it's just heartbreaking. But what I would remind everybody is that, you know, every day, these police officers, they come to work, and we're the backbone of this community. We personally visited temples, the Islamic Center over on the other side of town. Anybody that had a concern, emails, phone calls, they were returned. We personally visited places to put people at ease. And that's what we've done for a very long time. But there are husbands, wives, moms, and dads, you know, that are here in the audience tonight supporting their loved ones. And, you know, every now and then, give a thought as to what goes through their heads when their loved one leaves the house in the morning and goes out there to perform a patrol, not knowing what they're going to find their way into. And you heard a few of the stories tonight as to what these officers did find their way into. And they just do an excellent, just such an excellent job. And any opportunity that you give me, I'm going to brag about them, and I'm going to tell you how the character that they have is really unmatched. So if you see them out in the community, please engage them in conversation. You want to thank them. You want to just say hi. You want to talk about just about anything in Yorktown. You want to talk about the 6-0 Huskers that are going to go 7-0 this Friday night. You know, do that. But again, I couldn't be prouder of the men and women, you know, that I work with, whether they're cops, whether they're dispatchers, whether they're office employees, whether they clean our building. If you're in our building, you really are a special person. It's not easy to get in our building, to wear the badge, to wear the vest, to go out there and have the full faith and confidence that a community puts in their police department and expects the best from them. And I think we give it to you. So we get a lot of support in this community. That is not lost on me. So I am here to thank you all who do support us. I thank this town board, who has always supported us. And, you know, Diana, you're sitting up here too, so thanks. Adam, Dave, you really busted out a great suit tonight. You know,
Only for you, Chief.
I always say
You and your men and women.
he's a little like Don Cheech up here, but, you know,
Not Don Chooch?
well,
That's for later.
that's for you. But anyway, once again, I like to end it on a high note with that, but just give a little thought as to what these officers and their families, you know, when they go out there day in and day out. And I couldn't be prouder again to work with them, and they really represent this community in a very, very fine way. So I thank the men and women and the families that are here to support them. And until next time, I thank you all for your courtesy and support. Thanks for having us here this evening to the town board. And there's nothing, again, we'll be back the next time we're ready to celebrate some more of the achievements of our Yorktown Police
Let's give them
Department.
another round of applause, these great men and women of our police department.
Alrighty.
All right, let's just give them a few minutes so they can clear out and do their thing. And then we'll continue with our town board meeting.
Okay, I need to put the AC on.
Imamo se esse cashmere que me lembra que estão a navegar fora. It's not snowing. I dressed for snow.
Are you warm or is it just me?
No,
we gotta
estou
put the
namorando.
AC on.
Yeah.
It's crazy in here.
Who can put it on? Tom, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I texted him before. Hey, Tom?
Get nervous.
All right.
Keep Eagle presentation.
It's been hot in here all night.
Yeah, you gotta put the AC on.
It should have been on before.
Yep.
You're bringing cleaning materials. They didn't make that much of a
Hello.
mess.
She's trying to give us a message or something? What's going on?
All right. All right, next up, we get a presentation from Matthew Pilot. It's an Eagle presentation through Lynn Briggs from our Heritage Preservation Commission.
I'm at a loss to how to do this. So let's do this. Just, we can use the wood. Yeah, just, why don't you just set it up there a minute?
Okay.
What you do, pushing you around?
Wasn't me.
She pushing you around?
Yeah, she is. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What the heck?
It's rough over here on this side.
I'm telling you. Think it's easy?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you, Town Board, for allowing us to join you tonight. I'm Lynn Briggs. I'm the chairman of the Yorktown Heritage Preservation Commission, and I'm also the chairman of the New York State Washington Rochambeau Revolutionary Route Organization. Our commission would like to share the good works of a young man we partnered with over the last year. Matthew Pilot reached out to me in early March and dialed me up, sent me an email, and said, "Look, I understand you know how to clean grave markers." And lo and behold, I do. And we had just done a 4th-year program with the Shrub Oak International students, and we cleaned over 110 markers at the community church on Baptist Church Road in the Huntersville area. So Matthew said, let's hook up. We did a couple of Zooms. He asked a lot of great questions, and he took the idea, and I have to tell you, he ran with it. He was resourceful, creative, professional, punctual, terrific to work with, and developed what I think is a very replicable playbook for lots of community organizations to clean markers in the town. And God knows we have lots of markers and cemeteries that can be cleaned. So one thing's for certain, Matthew is done a great job. He's going to tell you all about it. He's a junior at Yorktown High School. He's here tonight with his mom and his dad. Where's the mom?
His mom over there.
Okay, there you are, Kelly. Okay. Kelly and Roy Pilot. And he's also joined by Mr. John McMillan. John, you want to raise your hand? John is a Vietnam veteran. He's third vice commander of the American Legion Post 1009 in Yorktown Heights. And as Matthew's going to share with you, Mr. McQuillan has been a tireless advocate of Civil War and Revolutionary War fallen heroes. And he's been a great advocate to Matthew and his Boy Scout troop. So without further delay, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Matthew Pilot.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. I appreciate your time. So, next slide, please. So, this is tonight's agenda, the background of my project, why I wanted to choose this project for my Eagle Scout project, getting permission for my project, the process and tools that I needed to get to fulfill my project, getting help and the volunteers necessary to completing it, the project results, and the call to action. So the background of my project, I've been a Boy Scout for the longest time, ever since I was in probably kindergarten, 1st grade. I've been doing it for a while. I'm part of Troop 1776, Yorktown. We're out of the American Legion, Post 109. And so when it came time for my Eagle project, my troop, every year for Memorial Day, we take part in restoring the flags of the veterans, Civil and Revolutionary War veterans. So I thought this is the perfect project for me to do. I get to give back to the people who help protect the country. So in total, there was 48 markers for me to help rejuvenate. And without Mr. McQuillan's help, it wouldn't have been possible. So I want to say thank you to him. Thank you, Mr. McQuillan. Next slide, please. These are aerial views of Civil and Revolutionary War veterans. On the left is Civil War, and right is Revolutionary War. And Mr. McQuillan did a lot of the legwork for this. He saved me a lot of time and frustration. But without him, like I said before, it wouldn't have been possible. So thank you. And next slide. Thank you. Why I chose to do this for my Eagle project. Like I said, after many years of doing this with my troop, back in 2018 when I first joined the troop, we came to do the flags, and I saw over the years that they really needed some love and care. So when it came time for me to become Eagle, I had a project in mind, and that's what I wanted to do. And thanks to all the veterans for what they did for me. It's the only way to pay it back, so thank you. Getting permission. So does anyone know anything about the Boy Scouts? Yep. So they give you this huge
Here we go.
proposal. I mean, you guys know a lot about paperwork, I'm sure, but it was big. So I had to run around, ask the church where I did my project, the Sherbrooke Methodist Church, to sign off on my project. I had to ask my Scoutmaster and the Boy Scout committee chairperson to give me approval for my project. And thankfully, everything went smoothly, and I got approval for it. So you're ready to get rolling. And this is me getting to work. So to make it easier for my volunteers, I put red ribbon around the Revolutionary War veterans, and I put blue around the Civil War. And you can see in the middle was me identifying them. It was a little bit hard. I don't know if you guys can see on the right, but it was kind of faded, the names and dates of the markers. So I had to do some legwork with that. That's it. And then the process, since these markers are very old, it requires a special solution of chemicals and stuff that you need to purchase. And the approximate cost is $75. The D2 solution, I'll show you guys. This right here is the D2 solution. This is a smaller bottle, but you can buy it in a bigger bottle, so it's more cost effective. And then this Orvis too, and then there's this paste down here too, which you mix it with water, and that and the D2 go on the markers, and they help rejuvenate it. So this is where Miss Briggs comes into play. Like she said before, she knows how to restore the markers, and so I researched, and I needed to find someone to teach me the proper steps in restoring them. And once I saw her, I knew she was the person to call. So I got in contact with her, and she taught me the proper steps in restoration. So thank you to her. And these are the steps. On the left, you can see the before picture, and then you apply the D2 solution, and then you scrub very hard. The front, back, sides, top, you guys know the drill. Hose it off, and then on the right, it seems a little bit concerning, but that's just the dirt coming out of, like, I guess the marker spores, I guess you could say. So, yeah. And then for my volunteers, I made a process and the tools that are going to be required for the project, so there's no confusion and we can minimize the cleaning. And so I made a sign-up genius to help organize the time slots and the people that were going to fill the time slots. So that helped with organization. I also had 30 volunteers, and I also got to be on News 12. That's pretty cool. And I believe next is a clip of me on News 12, actually.
History. They spent the day volunteering to clean and restore 48 Revolutionary and Civil War veterans' grave markers. Now, these grave markers are hundreds of years old. Many of them have never been cleaned and are unrecognizable. News 12 photojournalist Denzel Walters takes us along for the day of service.
We are cleaning graves and hopefully restoring them to a rightful condition before Memorial Day. Means to me pride. I have pride for what these heroes have done for me, and I want to give it back to them by cleaning their graves.
We've come here every Memorial Day weekend to place new flags, American flags, on the Civil War and Revolutionary War veterans that are buried here in this cemetery. We're here today with a bunch of help from Boy Scouts, from school, from the community, and it's great, and we hope to get all 48 done today.
I thought the volunteers want to help out my troop and help out Matt. I think it's important to help out your community, especially in cause like this. It can't hurt to help get outside of yours.
He's doing a great job. I mean, he's rounded up the troops, people from school, his ski team, Civil Air Patrol in Putnam County that he belongs to. The church has been phenomenal, giving them
All right, so the big day, this was the big project, the big reveal. On the top left, you can see the cleaning kits, like the ones over here that I provided to the teams I had. I have teams of 2, so one person could do the front and one person could do the back to minimize the time it took for one marker. And I had tents where there was food and water provided and extra materials if anyone needed it. And then those are my my volunteers for and doing their hard work. So I'm very happy with how it turned out. I thought it would take way longer and have to take span over multiple days, but we actually finished in 4 hours, so amazing. And on the bottom is a group picture of everyone that helped me with my project.
That's really great.
I'd like to ask Matthew a couple of questions. What would you say went well, and what was most challenging about the project?
I would say organization went well the best. Most challenging, probably teaching everyone the steps, because some people are lazy, some people don't want to really do anything.
Yeah,
so you gotta
that's right.
demonstrate to them. But yeah.
And getting water from one side of the street to the other.
Yeah,
That was a task.
That was, yes. So I had to, I'll go into that a little bit. I had to ask the, this man, Mr. I forgot his name. Mr. Gawk, yes. Thank you. I asked him if I could borrow his hoses and like the connectors and stuff.
Mhm.
And he allowed me to do that. And I took another hose from the church and I connected it and all this boring stuff. But yeah, it was,
Across the road.
yeah, that was challenging.
So Matthew, when is your official recognition for this project?
I don't really have recognition.
No, December. You're going to be
Oh
recognized.
yeah, yeah. Hopefully December I'll have my my court of honor, which is basically a kind of conference for Boy Scouts, where you get interrogated about what you did and all your merit badges, these things. But yeah.
Great. Who would like to sign up to clean some markers in the town? Do you have any volunteers?
We'll get a little sign-up genius.
So Matthew, in my opening comments, I spoke about the kids in Yorktown and how amazing they are. And you're one of those kids. Matter of fact, I could have just put a picture of you up and I would have been like that, and that's it. And it would have been like the definition in the dictionary. Really, really commendable. I'd love to come to your court of honor, just to watch you shine. I've been to a few, and it's really important, and it's really a great moment for you. And I know everybody's proud of you, but never forget to be proud of yourself.
Thank you.
All right?
Great job.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I have 2 questions. Did all of the graves get the red, white, and blue ribbon around it after you were done cleaning? Because I know you said separated red and blue originally.
Yes, only the ones that were Civil and Revolutionary War events. There's still some other graves that are there that we didn't get to clean, but I'm going to get into that later, that hopefully we can eventually clean them. But yes, after my project, after we cleaned them all, the red and blue ribbons got swapped to red, white, and blue ribbons.
So, and I don't know if this is a question for you or for Ms. Briggs. There is a stone at the VFW, which they believe is chiseled and is the original stone that the Charter of Yorktown was signed on. Does this process work on stone? Because it's overgrown with moss, it has some dirt. So does this work on regular stone, or is this only for a gravestone, which might be of a limestone? I think they used limestone back then.
I would say so, but what do you think?
I think it will work. There are some stones, rare, that it doesn't work on, but for the most part, all the work we've done does work on most of the stones, and there's lots of different types in the town. So I would say probably yes, Ed, but we can do a little sample and test it.
Yeah, Major Sheridan was showing me where it looks like it was carved into it, but we'd love to see what we could do.
Okay, great.
Well, Matthew, I got to say, you have one of the coolest names I've ever heard.
Yeah.
All right? And you're a member of the Civil Air Patrol. So a pilot with Civil Air Patrol, that's really pretty cool. Now, just I'm going to embarrass Mr. McQuillan a little bit. He was my scout leader. Just last year. Just last year. Right,
He had a full head of hair before he started with Tom.
What do you mean, me
Yeah,
or him?
Mr. McQuillan, we got to talk.
Some Tommy stories.
Oh, gosh.
He also helped my boys put the flags by the graves, and he was really patient with them. And my boys are tough little men.
Yeah. He's an outstanding citizen of the town of Yorktown. You couldn't have had a better guy helping you. I'm proud of you for what you've done in my hometown, Shrub Oak, and the way you made that cemetery kind of shine.
It's beautiful.
I think I drove over those hoses once or twice that day. I tried to go around so I wouldn't, but great job. I look forward to your court of honor. Be more than proud to be there with you. And thank you so much and good luck. Congratulations.
I appreciate it.
Great job.
All right, this is the final slide. I know I've taken enough of you guys' time, but thank you again. So over the course of my project, and the many hours I spent with these fallen heroes, I've had a new understanding for what they've done for me and a newfound appreciation. So with this, I would like to pass on what I've done and ask for your guys' help. I've talked to Assemblyman Matt Slater, and he said that he would look into asking Albany for funding for something like this. So hopefully we can maybe do something, how we do in Yorktown and like the cleanup day. Hopefully maybe we can do something like this with that. Hopefully.
That's a great idea.
Fantastic idea.
I think we're going to run with that.
Thank you.
All right. I think we might be able to find a couple dollars there to put together, get some chemicals, get some people together. I know Ed'll volunteer. Sergio. And we'll get your two boys.
Yeah, perfect. Here we go.
They'll go all day long.
All day long.
Count me in.
And we should be all set.
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you guys for your time. I really appreciate it.
All right.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Thank you,
Great
man.
job.
Great presentation.
You always wanted to be a pilot.
I did.
You were just born into the wrong family, I guess.
I was.
I thought it was an architect. Oh, no, that's Seinfeld.
Yeah, no. I don't. All right. And John, thank you so much for giving them a hand.
Your mentorship has been invaluable, John. Thanks.
Oh yeah, from the '70s, he's been involved with the Scouts.
Yeah,
You
no.
know, it's
Admirable. Yeah.
amazing. It's amazing. All right, Mr. John, would you like to come up as our poet laureate?
Here he is.
The last reading I did was a baseball poem. This is not a baseball poem.
Okay.
The local government. The news is troubling. Israel. Babies murdered, women raped, innocents slaughtered, hostages taken. Palestine, houses in rubble, great displacement, humanitarian crisis. Ukraine, the fighting goes on, death, destruction. House in chaos, no funding for Israel or Ukraine, no agreement on border security, and a move toward a shutdown. All major stories. And here locally, we deal with garbage pickups, rezoning, potholes, the housing proposal, sewers, all seemingly minor issues in comparison. Yet, this is how it should be. This is democracy. As we deal with the issues that affect us directly, we can and should make our opinions and concerns known to congressmen, senators, president, political parties, and use our pocketbooks to support our positions. So we will carry on working on the issues that we can resolve while keeping our eyes on the television about the others.
Thank you, John. I'll tell you what, I'll deal with the potholes, the garbage, any day than what those poor people are going through now.
Thank you.
All right. I'd like to open up courtesy of the floor. As a reminder, you can always contact us. You don't have to wait for courtesy of the floor. You can always call Town Hall, our town officials, our town departments. We are here to work for you. You can visit us at the town's website, www.yorktownny.org. You can find all the contact information for everybody here on the dais, town clerk, even town attorney. And of course, your elected officials. As a reminder, there's a 3-minute time limit on your comments for courtesy of the floor. We ask that you keep them directed to the town board. We ask, as always, that your comments remain focused and respectful. Yes, sir.
Thank you. My name is Steve Goodstein. I'm a 30-year resident of Yorktown, Yorktown
Steve.
Heights. I'm glad I could be here today. In Matthew's presentation and the amazing work that he did with the markers, the grave markers, he used the phrase, the big reveal. And in coming to tonight's board meeting, there were a lot of big reveals. The incredible work our officers are doing, certainly Matthew's work, the fundraising at the lake, with the Lakeland students at the basketball game, the haunted house, and much of this goes unseen. Well, I have another big reveal that for most has gone unseen. I've been following this year's campaign with a lot of interest. Recently, I took an interest in the financial backers of many of this year's contenders. What I found alarmed me greatly. Supervisor Tom Diane and the town board regularly receive political donations from people who currently have or previously had business before the town. Since 2022, the supervisor has had nearly a dozen donations from businesses that have business with the town. A glaring ethical problem. In just 1 year, our supervisor took in $7,000 in donations from those who have had business before our board. Here were the donations I found that most concerned me. $1,200 from Adler Group Diversified, LLC, which is behind the Creative Living development. $1,000 from Flame Asian Bistro and Wild Fusion, whose owner is behind the recently approved Gardenia Hotel. $1,000 from Eric DiBartolo's Rainbow Bridge Pet Crematory. $700 from the Pizzella brothers, who won a contract for sewer repair in 2016. $550 from Avira Green Associates, who the town gave permission to build a new retail site at 2040 Greenwood Street. $500 from JCM Racing, which was built with town-approved building permits in 2017. $500 from Mohegan Auto and Tire Center, who the town granted a zoning amendment and wetland permit. $500 from Yorktown Auto Body, who won the town's towing contract after it was rebid. $300 since 2018 from Geon Environmental Company, who have $10,000 contract with the town to perform air sampling and analysis. $250 from Thompson and Bender, the communication company, with a $60,000 annual contract with Yorktown. $250 from Site Design Consultants, the company behind the Unicorn Project.
Your time is up, Mr.
Thank you.
Goldstein.
The right thing for the campaign to do, and these board members accepting these donations, would be to return the donations, because the appearance of pay-to-play is not a good look for Yorktown. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you, Mr. Goodstein.
Thank you.
Hello, Paul Moskowitz, Huntersville.
Hi, Ms. Moskowitz.
Hey, Paul.
If you ask someone what they like about living in Yorktown, you'll get 4 or 5 answers, but among the top are that they feel safe in Yorktown. It's now been 1 month, a little over 1 month, since there was an attack in a public park on a citizen who tried to tell people to stop vandalizing the park. These people were an ATV gang, and I understand the town is working on a law. However, to us it seems that this isn't going very quickly. We notice that the town board can act with speed. It's done this to resolve the garbage mess. We would hope that they'd be able to do the same thing with the ATV problem, so that maybe sometime soon Yorktown residents can feel safe again. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr.
Thanks, Paul.
Oswald.
Good evening, I'm Jane Daniels. I live off of Stony Street, and it's a Mohegan Lake address.
Hi, Jane.
Hi there. I was going to come and I'm going to quote, I think it's a Shakespeare quote from Julius Caesar of, I come to praise you, not to bury you, for something along that line with the guy who ended up killing Julius Caesar. I'm not an English major, so I don't read Shakespeare. I'm happy to hear this evening that the ATV law is starting to move forward. I have, for those who are sitting here, changing a law process is we first had to recognize it needed to be changed, convince the town board to assign it to the town attorney, who then brings the proposed law back to a work session, and if there's problems, there's iterations, okay. The work session puts it out to appropriate parties to review, which I hope are like the police, the fire, the ambulance, and the Parks and Recreation Department. Do you really want to have ball fields destroyed? Okay. If the parties want changes, it goes back to the town board. They make it, and they set a public hearing date. I heard that if what Adam is bringing to the town board can make it back on Friday, maybe we can get some results in a hurry. I'm tired of hearing about the ATV problem. I want it solved. So getting the law signed in, it's going to take some time. There's going to be people who are going to protest it. Oh, we don't want this. But I want to thank you for moving it forward now. It's a little later than I'd like, but sometimes late is better than never. Thank you.
Thanks, Jane.
Jake Hopstein, good evening. And
Good evening, Jay.
Hi, Jay.
Hi, Jay.
because people like to announce 37 years in Yorktown. I listen to a lot of people complain. I don't hear a whole lot of solutions that are being offered. We saw the police department here tonight. We'd heard a little bit from Highway Superintendent Paganelli. For all that are listening, it's not what you see, it's what you don't see. If your street wasn't repaired, you don't necessarily see repairs going on. The police department makes arrests. If you don't know about it, you don't know about it. We've heard complaints tonight and in the past about ATVs. And I can tell you from experience, you do not discuss open investigations publicly. At the last town board meeting, somebody complained, why don't you tell us what's going on? Well, they're within the middle of an investigation. Shortly thereafter, additional charges were placed against the individual that were based on an ongoing investigation. The fact that you don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. You have to take that into consideration. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Costa.
Thanks, Jay.
Thanks, Jay.
Good evening, Susan Siegel.
Hi,
I'd just
Susan.
like to touch base on two topics. One very short. You're tired of hearing me talk about fluoride, but we did have a test October 6th. Unfortunately, the facility didn't pass the test. More work has to be done. There's at least one more leak. Now we're going to be tested in December, so just keep taking your fluoride pills, and you'll hear from me again in January. The second issue deals with industrial solar farms. I'd like to pick up on a comment that the question was asked at a recent candidates night, had to do with concern about solar energy. And I fully support solar energy, and good comments were made about putting solar on rooftops. And certainly we could look in that for the town buildings. I'm old-fashioned, YCC, it's ACCC building, all right. But I also am concerned if anyone has had a chance, drives by Route 6 at Hill Boulevard and has taken a look at the solar farm on the old Hill Farm. And I think a comment was made by somebody at that debate about how awful it looks. And there is no way it could be screened. And so with that in mind, if you haven't seen it, I encourage you to look at it and then to consider what changes you might want to consider in the current solar law that made that possible. Now, I know it's the planning board that approved it. The town board did not. But the town board wrote the law that basically almost tied the hands of the planning board and gave them very little flexibility when an applicant comes and meets very minimum requirements. So I would urge you to take a look at that law, and with the Hill Boulevard one in sight, think about how you can improve it. Still support solar. We have to support solar, but I think there are better ways to do it so we don't have a repeat of that facility someplace else. Thank you.
Thanks, Susan.
Thank you. Dan Strauss, 57-year resident of Yorktown.
Hi, Dan.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
The kids in town are amazing. Many of them are amazing. And that's a credit to their parents, and I believe it's a credit to the school system that we have here. I'm going to talk on a nonpartisan basis tonight because it was suggested I do that because this is the last meeting before the election, if I'm not mistaken, where you can talk.
We have a work session.
Is that correct?
We have one
Well,
meeting.
you can talk, that's correct.
That's
There'll
correct.
be a work
So I'm
session
going to be a
next week.
nonpartisan.
Okay.
So, Mr. Rodriguez, I appreciate what you did in getting the law in motion for the ATVs and the e-bikes. So I'm not going to really say anything more about that until the next time. But I will make a comment that maybe the gentleman that nearly got killed get some kind of proclamation, because there isn't one person in 1,000 that would step in front of an ATV and risk the consequences. At the debate, senior housing came up again, and a diversified housing stock, whatever that is. Okay, I'm just going to give you some numbers. Senior housing, diversified housing stock. Catherine Street, 118 units, 55 and over. Jefferson Valley, near the Taconic, 250, 55 and over. Navajo Street, these are proposed.
Right.
250, no age restriction. Wyant, 24, no age restriction. Underhill Farm, 148. 42 are senior friendly. I believe that in the Triangle Shopping Center, within a year or two, 250 units will be proposed. I think they're going to knock it down, and they're going to propose 250 units. That's my opinion. Prior to that, there are 798 units that are on the drawing board. Senior friendly, they are also age restricted, and they're just across the board, whoever. That's nearly 800 units. How many units do you want in Yorktown? Do you want 1,000, 2,000? Why does this discussion keep going on? Thank you.
Thanks, Ann.
Good evening.
Good evening, Tony.
Hi, Tony.
I think each of you know me, and I believe many people throughout the community know me. I did serve on the town board at one time. I was also police commissioner at one time, and I served in other facilities in the community. On 2 occasions, well, first let me say that the first gentleman that spoke, that was no mystery as to what he spoke about. That's public information. It comes from the Board of Elections, where reports have to be made periodically on when income comes for politics. So all he did was put Tom's name in, got the report, and that was it. He could do one for each of you. It doesn't matter. Even those in opposition, if they have any money, can do that. But on 2 occasions, I received letters from an outfit called A New Day for Yorktown, located on Kear Street. I don't know who they are. I'm assuming it's some form of an opposition to who's running. I know this is not to be used for politics, but they opened the door, so I'm going to take that door opening to read something to you. It's in the name of a lady running for supervisor. And it says, I've worked to support my community for the past 35 years as part of a number of business-supported organizations and local nonprofits. Which ones? Some of these organizations include the Greater Hudson Valley Chamber of Commerce. What have you done for the local Chamber of Commerce? That should be in here. This is what you're running for. You're running for the town of Yorktown, not Ossining. And there's an organization in Ossining, the Business Council of Westchester. When I had my business, I also was a member of that and made some great connections for my business. And then there's the Black Diamonds Academic Success Program and the Greater Hudson Valley Boy Scouts. That's a good one, where I'm the first woman to serve as council commissioner. I've also owned and operated a business for the last 25 years. Where? Did you belong to the Chamber of Commerce? I was a member of the Chamber of Commerce. I was an officer there. And we did quite well in this town, bringing businesses here. I see I only have 29 seconds left, but keep in mind that when people throw money at you, it can be, you have to register with the Board of Elections, and it's public information. I can assure you it'll be too late when I get the other political parties' numbers. If there's money there, I don't know. I don't know, but I will know. And after the election, I'll come back. I will come back. Now, I think that's about all I can say. It's the only time I have left, so I'm sure you won't allow me to speak too much over that. So
Thank you, Mr.
Thanks,
Garza.
John.
thank you.
Good evening, Sarah Wilson, 32-year resident of Yorktown. I'm not going to talk politics I am going to talk a little bit about trash, but just in the context of the Repair Cafe coming up on October 28th with all the things that are going on that weekend, because there's a lot going on that weekend right before Halloween. Our 19th Yorktown Repair Cafe is taking place as usual at Grace Lutheran Church indoors at the corner of Curry and Gomer Street. And our mission is to help our residents get their broken items repaired. Yes, I'm the organizer of the event. Oh, I'm not the person running for supervisor. Don't worry. That's never going to happen.
You're a lot,
No, she does
a
repair
lot
things
smarter
that
than
people think you're
anyone up there.
drunk.
The Repair Cafe reduces the amount of trash in our waste stream. And I'm in Section 6. It's bulk trash pickup this week. There is an amazing amount of stuff out there being thrown out. So the Repair Cafe helps reduce our consumption by avoiding replacement purchases, saves money for the owners, allows our talented volunteers to share their fix-it skills. We've looked at over 1,100 items, ranging from toys, ceramics, wooden items, clocks, jewelry, textiles, small appliances, electronics, and of course our most popular item, lamps. Our success rate is about 75%. But we can always use additional fix-it volunteers. We have a good group, but they're not all available all the time, so I'm putting the call out. If anyone feels handy, they have a skill that they can share, we always welcome new volunteers. You can go on the town website, on the community calendar, click on the Repair Cafe, click on the sign-up sheet. You can sign up to bring something in. You can sign up to be a volunteer. So I just want to get the word out about it. And by the way, this time, members of the church are actually holding a yard sale at the same time. So it's another way to get things reused into the hands of people who can use them,
Out of the trash.
keep these things out of the trash. So thanks very much.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks, Sarah.
Good evening, Jan Mirchandani, and to answer the question, I am the lady running for supervisor. I'm going to just stick to my script here. In December 2022, the Board of Ethics recommended revisions to our current ethics code. And then in July of 2023, Mr. Martorano was invited. He's the chair of the Board of Ethics. He was invited to come and present those recommendations again to this body. We have heard nothing since. So there have been numerous calls from residents, including several in this room, to pass these recommendations to strengthen our code of ethics. I'd like to know when that is going to be brought before this body and whether or not there will be a vote. You cannot pass it. You don't have to vote in favor of it. But it would be very important, I think, for this board to put a stake in the ground and say whether or not you're for those recommendations. So thank you.
Thanks, Jen.
Good evening, everybody. Steve Shaw, and I am running for councilman. There's been a lot of conversation about housing, actually just tonight. I'm going to come at it from a different angle, though. So, look, prices are up everywhere for everything. It's not just housing, but it is getting increasingly difficult to afford to live in Yorktown. It's come up at the debate and on some numerous other occasions. The median home price in our town is almost $600,000, and the average rental price for a 3-bedroom is about $4,000 a month. Our children can't afford to stay in the town where they grew up. Our first responders, such as police and highway, can't afford to live in the town they serve, and our seniors can't afford to stay in the community they love. Now, you've recently signed off on a number of large new developments here in town. Residents have highlighted that many of these developments will be market rate. With this in mind, I would like some clarity on how the town is working to address this crucial issue to preserve our wonderful community with regard to the following projects. So the town board approved the construction of 23 townhouse-style homes at 2040 Crown Pond on December 20th, 2020. How many non-market rate units were included in that development? How many non-market rate units are located at the residential development at Garden Lane? The town board is currently considering the Navajo Road rezone. How many non-market unit rates are being considered for this development? How many non-market unit rates are being considered for the Unicorn development? The town board is currently considering a rezone of 800 East Main Street. How many non-market rate units are being considered there? The town board will also soon consider the Toll Brothers at Catherine Street development, 118-unit townhouse community. How many non-market rate units are being considered for this development? And another significant development that has been proposed, over 200 units here in town, and how many of those will be non-market rate? Thank you.
will say something politically. Susan, for instance, who I don't always agree with, has been coming here for years because she's interested in the town. I'm surprised when we only hear from some people who've never been here before when they're running for office.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
Hi, Dan Branda. I'm the candidate for county legislator for District 4.
Hi, Dan. Hi, Dan.
Hi. I wasn't planning on speaking today. I was just planning on sitting and observing. But a couple of questions came up while I was listening to people speak about ethics, about affordable housing. And I have heard nothing but silence in this community and the communities around us about our current county legislator, Vidat Gashi, chairman of the board, and his ownership of an affordable housing co-op in New York City that he is required to live in, that he claims special exemption for renting out for profit. On top of that, his using government mail to send out campaign newsletters the last day possible, which was actually 5 months after Westchester County law allowed him to mail that into our communities, into his new district, not his old district, to people based on their voting history. So I find it interesting that there's not a lot of comment about this from people who are bringing up ethics and affordable housing in front of this board. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Hi, everyone. Jenny Menton. Can you hear me all right?
Yep.
Yes.
I hadn't planned on getting up. I have nothing in front of me, but I couldn't help disagreeing with a lot of things that were said tonight, especially Mr. Shaw. I'm a senior. I've been a senior a long time. And I came here to live in the 50s. And I can afford to stay here because I planned for it. And a lot of my friends are here. And they're all seniors. We're all in our 80s, 90s. And all I know, I speak to a lot of my friends are realtors. And they tell me, Jenny, we have no inventory. We have so many people that want to move here, but we have no inventory. There's no houses. So I don't know where he's getting the information that I can't afford to live here and that seniors can't afford to live here. I planned it. I've been here since the 50s, and there are a lot of seniors that have done that. So why? This isn't the first time I've heard that. I've heard that many times. Does he know my financial status? Does he know the financial status of people that... Yes, there are people. When I first wanted to look for a home in the 50s, I went to Scarsdale. I couldn't afford it. So I moved myself up, and I'm in Yorktown. So if you can't afford to be here and you don't like it here, there's many places you can go to where you can afford it. We have low-income housing. We have housing where people can stay if they can't afford a higher-priced house. I live in a very nice community, a nice development, and just recently we sold 3 houses there that were way up there, and they're redoing the houses. So there is money, and please, don't tell me that I can't live here because I can't afford it. And don't tell seniors that they can't live here because they can't afford it. If they can't afford it, they will leave. They have enough brains to know that they can't. I don't have to hear it or read it in the paper that I'm a senior and I can't afford to live here. I made plans so that I could stay here with my family, with my children. I have 18 grandchildren and 8 great-grandchildren. And I plan on staying here to enjoy them. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you.
Thank you,
God
Jenny.
bless, Jenny.
I'm tired of people telling me I can't live here because I can't afford it.
I think most of us as seniors are-
Good evening.
I'm not
I'm
a
Mike Capalbo. I've been here 30 years.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, everybody. So I'd just like to say it's easy to look good when everything is going well. But adversity is the true test of people. You guys have stood up to adversity, and you've handled it very well as a team. That's because of your experience, your integrity, and your ethics. I went to the debates, and they were kind of illuminating. I saw on one side a team here with the potential addition of Patrick that has experience, practical knowledge, and relationships. On the other side, I saw something that sort of frightened me. People with no experience who really just try to manufacture crisis and negativity, but aren't really offering much other than regular political platitudes of new ideas. I mean, I know they like trees, they like development, and they've got a way of developing without cutting trees. That was kind of fascinating to me. But I would urge the community to keep this team together because you work well together, you care about the community, and this is the team for Yorktown.
Thank you. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
I hear you. Hi, my name is Anthony Pichette, 2-year resident of Yorktown, New York. I first was going to say, I really, you know, no matter what you feel, it's cool that everyone come up here and say and talk. And I, you know, keep calling this power of the people. That's not what this is called, but whatever this is right now. I just really like hearing people speak. I like in the debate, I heard from Councilman Lockton a lot, from Supervisor Diana, and it's not like, of course, I'm not going to agree with things you guys say, my wife says, anyone says, that, you know, people, whatever side it is, but just hearing those ideas more and more, I think is what I would encourage going forward, no matter who. So you two will definitely be here, right? Yes, okay. And I just, you know, no matter what happens, I'd really like to encourage it that the communication, we can talk about things more. I know in the debate, Councilman Lockton, you said we do talk about a lot. I think the nuts and bolts of it is interesting to myself. I'm not going to talk for anybody else. Even like we were talking about the police radio system the last time, and Mr. Kopstein brought that up with the chief, and the number was discussed at the end, which is fine. But you know, what other ideas were out there? What other companies were there? And not saying there's anything wrong. Like was said at the debate, it's not implying that there is anything nefarious going on. It's just the more you talk about it, the more it's in the open, the more people know, and there's no, I think, over communication. All right, maybe sometimes, but just, you know, I think approaching that level would be better. And I also want to, I don't think, can you correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Rodriguez, you're not talking about an e-bike law, right? You weren't, oh, you can't, I'm sorry, I apologize. If you could comment later, if you were discussing an e-bike law, because I heard that discussed, and I don't think that's discussed, and I hope it's not discussed, so I'm not going to talk about it since it wasn't discussed. But I just want to encourage, one thing I wanted to say is that one of the really cool things about the town, which there are many, is that we do have that wonderful bike path that cuts right through the heart of Yorktown Heights. So there's so many opportunities there for us to develop that a little bit, not develop, sorry, but build more stores and opportunities around that section, so that, you know, that could be like a jewel to the city or jewel to the town where people come in there. You know, have the bike shop, have rent bikes, regular bikes. That's not controversial, you know, just so people can take it around up and down the park or up and down the path for a little while. So just things like that. And also, last thing, I am not the one that asked the question in debate about the bikes. And it's just to let you know, but I'm glad there is one other person in this town that agrees on that. So thank you all. There's two. There were two people. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else for courtesy of the floor? Motion to close courtesy of the floor?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. Ed, comments?
All right, a couple things. Anthony, I definitely agree that you shouldn't agree with everything out there. I've told people that you know, I'm talking to them about voting, and oh, well, you're a Republican, you want to vote? Don't. Make sure you like what I'm saying. Make sure you think I'm the right person. But I will say we did have 3 presentations on communication systems for the police department over the years. So there have been some things, and there were some delays in it. I think Mr. Kopstein may be able to, you know, offline give you a little more on that. But definitely has been out there, numbers. I love Craig Scatola. His dad's a lion with me, but I can't listen to his numbers anymore. But he goes over them, and he's thorough. He really is, and that's, you know, that's one of the experts we rely on. Sarah, you got me very upset now. I had that idea about the yard sale. You bring something, let it get fixed and sold, and then it could benefit maybe the food bank. I'm busy on the 28th, but, and Carol's going to thank you that it's on a day I'm busy because I love yard sales. I love repurposing and recycling, so thank you. Let's see. There was talk about the speed and law, and Jane, thank you for going through the process, because it is a process. And there, as the chief pointed out, or actually maybe it was the attorney pointed out earlier, there are different stakeholders in this law that need to input before it could even come back to us. We have to wait for the process. That has been said a lot of times, and it was subject of the debate. Oh, things are delayed. We're not the final voice on things. We need to get that input. We need to make sure the experts have a chance to get into it and give us that information for us to make a decision. Presentation at the for the work session for a law, having it referred out, getting the referrals back, getting any changes, bringing it back if there are changes that are significant to put it back out there, then another referral period. So, it's not like let me snap my fingers and it's done. And there's this huge misconception about that. So, I'll briefly, well, actually, let me talk about housing. That basically was the diversified stock, what we were talking about, all the different types of things that are looking to come in. Now, there are two sides to the coin. Mr. Strauss was, we have too much, and other people, we don't have enough. Now, one thing, and I've always been out there, and it's funny because Mr. Branda has put that out about affordable housing. The non-market rate or affordable housing, I personally am a land use person, meaning you have your rights when you own land. If you want to put affordable housing on it, God bless. If you don't, that's your choice. I do not think the government should overstep their reach and tell people how to develop their property. It's a constitutional right when you own that property. As long as you're within zoning, you have a right to build and build what you would like. So, Mr. Shaw wants to see more affordable housing, and Mr. Branda pointed out that sometimes that system is scammed, and even by people that should know better, people that fight for it. And it's a sad state of affairs, but there's also supply and demand. If we increase our supply to above the demand, which is there, as Ms. Menton pointed out, people can't find the stock. There's no inventory. So our job is to increase the inventory, plan it out so we could take those properties that are eligible to be developed. And yes, it means some trees are going to be cut down, but as I pointed out in the debates, long-term planning, 50 to 70 years ago, Yorktown was farmland. So those trees all grew, and those trees will grow back. And if we take care of making sure engineering is done properly, the water retention should be solved by engineering. Is it always? No. There's some storms you can't work on. Fortunately, I understand the Westchester County budget has quite a bit of money geared towards infrastructure projects and floodplains and flooding. So we're hoping that some of that money could come up this way and help out our people. But we do also have quite a bit of senior fixed income, Beaver Ridge, Windward Oaks. So it's been addressed. I think we have, I want to say we have, we've never gotten a true number, but over 2,000 units of affordable housing in the town of Yorktown. We've never, because the program has been so mixed. Sarah, do you happen to know that number? I know I shouldn't be asking, but
actually, the Housing Board is planning to present to the town board shortly.
All right, so we will know. Thank you.
Thank you.
There are many of them out there. And then, last, look, I'll just address some of Mr. Goodstein's comments about campaign contributions. If you worry about anyone who had a town-approved building permit, my mother-in-law can't give to me. My wife can't give to me. Over the 30 years 30-plus years I've lived in town, and over the 64 years my wife has lived in town, and over the almost 70 years that my mother-in-law has lived in town, we do our business locally. I know you had mentioned Yorktown Auto Body. My wife and daughter probably bought him a new yacht. Not all their fault, deer running into the car, different things like that. You know what? I saw before one of our electricians, who I know has a town contractor, by the way, won by bid, not assigned. We don't assign contracts. He won a bid. He just did, between myself and my mother-in-law this year alone, about 12 grand worth of work. If he wants to support me because I support him as a business owner and he believes in that, that is his absolute right. And I really find it despicable that people say, well, you know what? You shouldn't be able to put your money where your mouth is. You said it very well, John. I wrote it down. Pocketbook to support your positions. Open your pocketbook to support your positions. I'm sure that Jane and Walt donate a lot of money to places like the Sierra Club because you believe in that. They believe in the walking trails. And I donate a lot of money to the SPCA and to the troops. It's what I believe in. So to say it's nefarious with, for a $100 donation or $200 donation, I think that everyone on this board has a lot more stake in Yorktown than worrying about $100. But I'm not going to say no to someone who wants to support me. I don't think that's appropriate either. I shouldn't say hide behind a wall. You should be able to support whoever you'd like politically. I don't think that that is anything that is the purview, especially when it's reported properly, as was pointed out. You wouldn't have that information if it wasn't reported. We put that down. Our treasurers take that report and put it together to make sure that the public is very well aware, to keep everyone honest. So I would be more concerned if I didn't see any of those local businesses supporting, because that means either the money isn't being reported properly or the candidates are not in support of those local businesses and what they do. And I think all of those businesses do some very important functions for our town. And that is all I have on that.
Okay. Thanks, Ed. Sergio.
Can I go next?
You wanna go next?
Yeah, I just want to back up something that Ed said. So first of all, courtesy of the floor really should be town business. I know we're in political season, but it should not be political coming up here. It should be town business. If you have an issue with any of our projects, your home, or whatever, you could come up. But I also I agree with everything Ed said, and I did a quick search on the other side's financial, and they also accepted money from an attorney that's doing business with the town. I'm not going to say the name because I think that's distasteful to say the name, but they also did the same thing. You know what, whether it's $100, $200, you can't accuse us of doing it if, they've also done the same. So everybody gives money to the candidate of their choice. It doesn't matter. That particular candidate may have given to 2 candidates, 3 candidates, but, really courtesy of the floor, keep it to town business so that we can keep the town moving in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Serge?
Mary, are we to assume that if somebody has a contract or does some work in the town and offers somebody a donation, that even though if they're new candidates, that it's a wink, wink, we can't wait for you to get in so you could give us a contract? I mean, it's not fair. It was a very one-sided, analysis. I would have liked to have seen, a comprehensive analysis. I would have respected that more. I respect your opinion on it. I understand where you're coming from, and it is political season, and you're entitled to your opinion, and thank you for coming here and expressing it. But, if you had both sides, I would have appreciated it much more. As far as the affordable housing, there's a very big difference between low income and affordable housing. But I will tell you that not too long ago, there was a couple who lived in Yorktown because their parent was in an affordable home.
Mm-hmm.
And the parent lived there for 30 years. And what ended up happening was after 30 years, Sarah, I don't know the exact number, but their profit after living there for 30 years was about $20,000 or $30,000. Now, our community housing board saw fit. They understood that it wasn't fair. We couldn't help the kids of the parent that passed away at this point because the law had already been cast, the die had already been cast. But after 30 years, in my opinion, it bred poverty. That's what it did. It gave somebody a place to stay, and that's about it. And if you didn't save every receipt and everything, and you know, giving credit to for if you improved the home a little bit, maybe you redid the kitchen for 20 grand. If you saved the receipt, you'd get the 20 grand on the back end when you sold the house 30 years later or 20 years later. But they walked away after their legal fees and everything with not a whole lot. Now, they did get an education in Yorktown, and there were benefits. Both sides, right? I'm talking both sides, not just one-sided. So that did happen. The other comment that I heard was, you know, how are our firemen going to live here? How are our police going to? They can't afford to live here. Let me tell you something. Affordable homes, we don't get to allocate them and say, hey, you know what? We have a guy from I don't know, Ossining, and we have somebody that lives in Yorktown. Let's give it to the guy in Yorktown because he lives here. You know how illegal that is? It actually goes into a lottery. So it's a total misconception, and it was completely inaccurate to say that if we have affordable housing here, it will go to our first responders that live here. No, it goes into a lottery. The lottery is a vast section of New York.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, it includes parts of New Jersey. Very small part. It includes parts of Connecticut, and whoever wins the lottery gets to move to Yorktown. Now, all right, that breeds diversity, and I love it. But to say, oh, well, if we have affordable housing, then our firefighters will be able to afford to live here. If they're lucky to win the lottery, yes. I've been trying to play the lottery for quite some time. I haven't won yet. So I
won $1
You
yesterday.
won that?
Yeah, I
Won
got
$1?
$1.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
push
yeah.
it too?
Yeah,
Push it
yeah, I
too?
did. Yep.
So you know, I want to just be careful about when we're throwing things out. I try to be as honest, you know, and fair as possible when you look at issues, even if it's something that I may not want, right? Even if it's something that I want this to come to Yorktown, but I don't know. I mean, there's this other element. There's this other side. As far as all of these units, they're proposed, and Dan, you pointed that out. Thank you for pointing that out. They are just proposed right now, pie in the sky. If you were watching the planning board meeting the other night for the project on Catherine Street, there are issues with the pump station, and there is infiltration from groundwater that's actually making the pump station work harder, decreasing the amount of flow available for new developments. This is a big problem on Catherine Street. Again, didn't hear about that. What I heard was it's going to be 118 units. But that's not exactly the full story. And that's where I think we have to focus on moving forward. If you want to have, Anthony, a robust discussion, right, which is what you're talking about, we need to hear all the points, not just the ones that are politically expedient. Thank you.
Lou?
I mean, I like the idea. Oh wait, man, this was definitely not a let's fix this or let's talk about that. This is definitely a whole other situation. But I want to just go back to the place. There's been a lot of talk about transparency, and I like the word transparency because I like to talk a lot. But the problem is that I'm finding is I'm trying to be the best councilwoman I can be for this community and not get all of my words twisted and thrown back at me as if I said something differently than what I may have meant. Sometimes we speak and we go through and we want to give you like 900 numbers and we want to give you the ramble and like how long we were up and in the middle of the night when Tom called me for the garbage and all of these wonderful stories, but I have to say, sometimes it feels really, 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 really scary to be able to trust that when I share information, it's coming back to me the way that I shared it because I can't guarantee how you hear it. So I do want you to know that I can only speak for myself, and I know I can speak in reference to how we lead, is we want to bring all of that transparency, and we want to bring all of those lovely conversations, because I do think that the people that do come here are interested in the nitty-gritty of what we're doing. If not, they're not watching to the TV, and they're not sitting in this space, and they're not in this. But I do want you to understand that, like, sometimes it gets perceived, or we'll hear it, or somebody will write something in the paper where we said X and we didn't say X. We actually said Y, but because we went into this long narrative about it, they're twisting it around. So there's a lot of fun facts. So I hope that I can continue to bring my I talk a lot, and trust that you guys hear and come with all of your questions so that we can get not only transparency, but clarity. We're bringing it. If you're not asking the questions, we can't give you the rest of the story. And I'm finding that we get a lot more accusations than we get the questions to answer the story. And also, like I tell my kids, if I answered the same question and you ask me the same question 4 different ways, the answer's still the same, right? That's a real big thing. Like, I know sometimes people want you to answer it the way that they want to hear it, and it's still the same answer. So just letting you know. But that's it.
Mary, anything else?
No, I'm good.
All right. Dave?
I'm good.
All right. My turn. Steve. Mr. Goodman.
Goodstein.
Huh? Steve, right?
Goodstein.
Goodstein, I'm sorry. I want to say thank you for showing that I am so ethical that you can find all my filings. I greatly appreciate that. Okay? And, you know, it shows that I do my due diligence, and my people that take care of my filings do it the right way. Who donates to me donates to me. This is silly season, folks. And if you don't know coming into this, all right, what's built, what's not, what's going to be housing, how many it's going to be, then you don't belong in government. You got to sit here more than just thinking about when you're going to run. Bottom line, period, the end. You know, in full transparency, I'm the supervisor, and I'm running again to be your supervisor for another 2 years. As long as we're in the political arena, let's get there, okay? I love this job. I love this town. I have more collective time in this job, in this town, than almost everybody sitting on this board. And I'm going to lead this town in the right direction. I cured the garbage situation in 72 hours after following the proper procedures in which to do it. And I'm proud of that. And I'm proud of this board for sticking behind me in the way I did it. There's no other board here, past or present, that could have done it in the time frame on a holiday weekend that we did it. Okay? But I'm not going to talk trash. All right? Because there's a lot more things that we can talk about here, like the housing. We're building houses. We're building, you know, but everything's in its infancy yet. We have one across the street that the planning board has said was okay. We got one on the corner here, 23 houses. I guess nobody knew about that for the 6 years that it was planned. The other ones, once again, are in their infancy. They all have good and bad things about them, be it Toll Brothers, be it the Navajo Street project, be it wherever. They all have positive and negatives. And if you look at how we negotiate these things in open session, in full transparency, we say how many units are going to be available. If you're paying attention and you know municipal law and you know how municipalities work. Some of them are going to possibly bring sewers to the whole side of Jefferson Valley. Did anybody know that? Maybe, maybe not. It's going to be such a positive for that side of town that it's unbelievable. We're still working on the sewers for the Halleck's Mill extension, but it may be cost prohibitive. I wish the engineer was here. He could tell you more about that. So, you know, you get up here during silly season, folks, and you know, you want to bash the people that have been sitting here for a number of years, who have served this town well, have tried to do the right thing. What happened tonight was the wrong thing, and I'm going to stand behind that. I have nothing more to say.
Look at just one other thing. Look at you brought it up, the Toll Brothers project.
Infancy.
$1 million, it could potentially bring $1 million, over $1 million
Yeah.
in tax revenue. Wait, and they proposed to pay the rec fees per door, all of them. I think that's like $472,000 to the rec department.
That's right. You were there last night.
That's right. And they also proposed another $150,000 as a straight contribution to the rec department. So this way they could upgrade, hopefully, Hunter Brook. But again, there are other issues that were brought up, that were flushed out by our excellent planning board. And that has to get worked through. Because nobody here is just saying, okay, yeah, don't worry about the pump station and the sewers. Put it out. Nobody's doing that. It might be politically expedient to say that, but nobody's doing that up here.
And there's not
Trust
a
me.
person up here that's taking pay for play. Let's stop the ridiculousness. Okay. Everybody done? We're moving forward.
Let's do it.
All right. Resolutions from the central garage authorize obsolete vehicles to be either scrapped at Brookfield Resource Management or sold at auction at Absolute Auction and Realty, Inc. From the engineering department, erosion control bond release. At 1710 Baptist Church Road. From the highway department, authorize the comptroller to process the following budget transfers for the highway department. From highway fund balance, the highway equipment line.
Mowers.
What's going on?
No, I said
Oh,
mowers.
all right.
Mowers.
Authorize controller to process the following budget transfers for the highway department. We're going to go from contingency capital to tree removal line to general fund, $12,000. Authorize controller to process the following budget transfer for the highway department. Again?
I know. Between the mower and the
Jeez,
drainage.
you know I'm going to read it. Okay. That's for contingency capital to streetlights. Authorize release of escrow deposit for drainage permit number 22-003 in the amount of $1,000. From the Nutrition and Senior Services Department, authorized supervisor to sign a regional kitchen agreement to provide meals to the town of Cortland and the town of Somers. From the Parks and Recreations Department, authorized the town clerk to advertise bid for Brian J. Slavin aquatic facility, main pool and dive well relining and coping, as long as you get the proper bid, okay, and the details. And
Understanding is it's with a review with the town.
it's reviewed with the town. Okay, that's
I saw it too.
that's another thing we moved in on and we took care of this year.
Thank you.
And then from the planning department, accept site improvement bond from Wenesco for Wendy's Restaurant. I can't wait for that to open. They got good chili.
So the leftover hamburger meat.
Yeah, that's okay. From the police department, approve attendance for a member of the police department to attend a conference. Approve attendance for another member of the police department to attend a conference. And from the receiver of taxes, authorize comptroller to refund the following 2023 and 24 half penalty for account number 3788000 in the amount of $110.10. From housing, section 8, authorized to sign the annual civil rights certification. From the water department, extend bids for automotive and small engine parts and equipment tools for an additional year as per terms of the bid contract. Okay.
So moved.
Again, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. I go for the last and final here tonight. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Have a good night, Yorktown.
Night, Yorktown.